All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. The X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, as well as on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and of course, we're coming to you tonight from the flagship station, radio station, for the X Zone Broadcast Network in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. I'm talking about your hometown radio, Classic 1220, that streams around the world on classic1220.ca. X Zone Nation, my first guest tonight is Karen FORREST, and she is the Angel Lady. And joining me now from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, is Karen. And Karen, welcome back to the X Zone.
Thanks. It's great to be back again.
How has the summer been for all of our friends in Prince Edward Island this year?
It's been fun. I love my summers. I love swimming in the ocean. So I've been swimming in the ocean since June, even though our waters are a bit cooler. But it's a great. So I'm enjoying it. But we definitely got lots of tourists here this summer.
Well, that is good. That is really good because Prince Edward Island is a beautiful province. And people who go there certainly do have a good time. They come home and they tell all their friends about the wonderful time, the great people that are in PEI. Karen, tell our listeners who may not have heard you the last time you were on, because we've gained so many affiliates over the last couple of months, about yourself and how it is you became the Angel Lady in Canada, that is.
Sure, yeah. I haven't always been known as the Angel Lady. My background is military nursing. So I'm a retired military nurse. I have a bachelor in nursing with a background in mental health nursing in the military. Shortly before I retired from the military, I started to take extensive spiritual training, including angel therapy courses and mediumship, to communicate with angels and dead people. So when I retired from the military with a background in nursing, I then started talking to angels and dead people for a living. I am now a Canadian best-selling author of 4 angel books, including Angels of the Maritimes and my autobiography, Angel Lady of the Maritimes.
Karen, what was it that made you want to talk to dead people?
I didn't actually want to talk to dead people at first. God had to convince me of that one. I always told God at a young age, in my early teens, that I'll honor my life path. Wherever that would take me, I would honor it. I just asked God to guide me there. Shortly before I retired from the military and I started taking spiritual training, I was more focused on the angel part, communicating with divine beings for guidance. But God made it very clear I need to learn mediumship, which is talking to dead people too, because my background is counseling as a nurse, as a mental health nurse. And many people need the counseling skills or my ability to talk to dead people to help heal through grief. So I followed that guidance, even though at first I was a little resistant to it.
Now, how can you speak to somebody who has died, especially since this instruction was given to you from God when, as far as I understand, the people don't go to heaven right away. And how does that work? I'm totally baffled.
Yeah. Yeah. My experience as a professional medium talking to dead people, and I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, and it was a learning curve, I can tell you, because before my training, I was not talking to dead people as a child or anything like that. So my experience in communicating with the deceased, I can communicate with them usually within 24 hours of passing on. So people often ask me, how soon can I talk to them? And I tell them, look, within a day, but you're going through a grieving process. You might want to wait a few days or a week before you communicate and talk to me. So it's actually very quick. How I do it is purely intent. I say, okay, God, this my client here wants to talk to so and so bring so and so through so I can talk to them.
And that's as easy as it is?
That's as easy as it is. It's no more difficult than that. The hard part, it's not bringing in a dead person to talk to me. God and the angels oversee that aspect to make it easy for me as a medium. It's just trusting my ability to receive the messages and not get in the way of the messages from the deceased. So what I mean by that is my job is strictly pass on the message and not try to put my own twist or meaning or understanding on it, because I don't know the dead person. I don't normally know my clients unless they're regular clients. So I don't want to try to put any type of twist on it or my human thinking on it. I just pass on the messages and tell the client, wasn't mean to you. The message is for you. It's not for me.
What was it like for you the first time that you actually did a reading and were able to communicate with the departed one on the other side?
Yeah, it was a little freaky. That's what it was. That was during my training as an angel therapy practitioner. I was in California, and part of my angel therapy is also doing basic mediumship, talking to dead people. So the first time I practiced on someone, I was terrified, and I kept trying to tell the angels, look, you just got to help me breathe through this and get the message through, because it's not about me. It's about getting the message to this person. So I practiced. We were practicing on each other participants in my course that I was on, and it was a man whose spouse had passed on, and I spoke to his spouse, who kept showing me very specific images. I remember to this day he showed me a teddy bear and a map, and that's what I told the guy. I said, look, this means nothing to me, but your husband is showing me a teddy bear and a map. What does that mean to you? And he started crying. He says, I know exactly what it means. We always had this teddy bear together that my husband had given me, and a map was always the fact that my husband was the one we traveled, always looking at old-fashioned maps, and I used to tease him about that. So my job is just give the message, but it doesn't mean anything to me because it's not for me.
What part do the angels play in this?
For me, which is where I can be a little different than some mediums who might not work with a divine source and mediumship, is that they oversee it. They protect the session. I have very strict boundaries with the angels and God, that if there's a negative dead person, they cannot come through. I don't want them talking to me inadvertently. Now that's extremely, extremely rare for that to happen, but I want a higher vibrational level. I just don't want any dead person talking to me. I don't want negative dead people communicating with me. So they act as my bouncers in that way, and they also help the deceased person communicate with me. If I didn't ask a divine source to help out with that, I don't think the communications would be as strong, as good as I am able to get these messages if I didn't have a divine source overseeing and helping me and helping the dead person communicate with me.
Has there ever been a time when you've been doing a reading that and communicating with someone on the other side that a negative entity has tried to make the connection with you to cross over?
To cross over? Not to cross over in that way. There was only like 3 or 4 times, and I've spoken to like thousands and thousands of dead people in the last 20 years, that their vibrations were so low that when I called them through, the angel said, look, Karen, their vibrations are lower. It's going to go against your standards of what you prefer. Do you still want us to let them through? And the answer was no, don't let them through. I don't want a negative dead person coming through. But then there's other times where I work with, when I do house clearings or business clearings, where I work with negative entities and Archangel Michael to help cross them over to the light if they're ready to go over.
Okay, now, when you're communicating with these these departed people that I just say the other side because I really don't know where they are. Where are they? Are they in heaven? Are they in a waiting room between here and heaven? Where are they exactly?
Yeah, I mean, I use the words heaven because people are familiar with that term. I use the words afterlife, a different realm, but they're in a higher vibrational place. They're in a good place. They're in a very peaceful place. So I just simply say heaven in my terminology to make it easy.
And the angels, you said they act like your bouncers?
They are my bouncers. Archangel Michael and angels are my bouncers. Yes, they are.
What was it like the first time that you realized that you had such powerful angels as your bouncers?
A relief, because I don't want to be messing around with negative energy or inadvertently bringing it through to a client, because that's disastrous. And that's where some mediums who don't have professional training or don't have the intent of saying only certain dead people, they just might say any dead person. I would never say those words. They have to be a higher vibrational level. Again, it's extremely, extremely rare that a dead person is not high vibration enough for me to communicate with. But here's another example. I had a regular client of mine, and her mom passed. And her mom, she had a rough life. She was not in good shape before she passed. And when she first passed, I asked angels to bring her through, and again the answer is, she doesn't meet your criteria. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. I said, then let's leave her alone. We'll check on her later. It took about 4 months before I could communicate with her, where her vibrations did rise enough and she healed enough in the afterlife, soul progressed enough that I was able to communicate with her, and she's kind of squeaked on by my level that I could start to talk to her directly rather than just talking to angels about her.
So am I to understand, and we've got about 30 seconds before I have to take my break, so I'll pose this question to you, and then when we come back, we can discuss it, because I think it's very important that you were saying that after she passed, she went to the afterlife, where she was healed, or where she learned. And does this happen frequently?
I hope so. That's what I wish for any soul. As I said, the vast majority of souls I speak to, they're fine. They're in a higher vibrational level in the afterlife, but a soul can still choose to be in a lower vibrational level. That's what some people call hell.
Exonation, our guest this hour is Karen Forrest. And if you'd like to contact Karen, her website is karenforrest.com. And we'll be back on the other side as we continue talking about angels, but we're also going to be talking about fairies, mermaids, other elementals, and of course, learning about angel therapy as well. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the shores of beautiful Lake Ontario. And we'll continue as we continue to look at the strange, the weird, the bizarre. We're a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And you're listening to us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming on classic1220.ca.
Pretty little angel eyes, pretty little angel eyes, pretty little angel, pretty little angel, pretty little angel. Give up, give up, give up, give up, oh, give up, give up, give up, give up. Pretty little angel eyes. Give up, give up, give up, give up, oh.
I really love you so. Angel eyes, I'll never let you go, because I love you, my darling angel eyes.
Pretty little angel eyes.
Angel eyes, you are so good to me, and when I'm in your arms, it feels so heavenly. You know I love you, my darling angel eyes.
Exonation, Karen Forrest is our special guest this hour, and Karen is in beautiful Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Her website is karenforrest.com. That's KarenForrest.com. We were talking about angels, and but you also believe in fairies, mermaids, and other elementals. Can you describe those, please, and how Who? What? When? Where? Why? Fairies?
Yeah, I know. I have not always believed in fairies. So when I use the term fairies, that's nature's angels. They're a form of elementals, as are the mermaids, gnomes. In other cultures, they're more commonly known and believed in, like think of Scotland, Ireland. They're more actually believed in. In Canada, not so much. It's more fairy tales than real fairies. But when I started my extensive spiritual training, including my angel therapy practitioner course, I remember we were spending an afternoon, spending a few hours talking about fairies. And I was sitting there, and I was probably the only one trying not to roll my eyes at the thought of, like, really, really, I don't know about this. But I was trying to keep an open mind, and I didn't want to detour or dampen the spirit of all these other people very excited around me who were going to learn more about fairies. But I'm like, whatever, don't really believe in them at first. It took me a bit. I had to work with them to really start to realize, okay, there actually is something to this.
What actually changed your mind?
Practicing invoking them, because I thought I'm going to try to keep an open mind, because knowing my clients and a lot of them would believe in elementals, including fairies, I want to just decide for myself, are they real or not? So I started to hang out with them and invoke them to get to know them better, to make my own decision. Do I believe in this form of angel or entity? Because they're a little different than angels. They do have an ego, where an angel does not have an ego. So I changed my mind by asking them for help, and they were helping me, and I can give some examples of that.
Please.
And then the first time I saw fairies, the first few times I saw fairies, which kind of freaked me out too.
Give us some examples.
Yeah, so one of the first times after my training, I was invoking the fairies, going, well, let's see if they're real or not. And I asked the angels, please help me see the fairies. And I invoked them. I said, fairies, if you exist, can you please show yourself to me? And I was laying on the deck. It was summertime, and I was laying on the deck, and all these stupid little, those tiny little annoying bugs were around me, and I kept swatting at them. And then I realized, oh no, these aren't bugs. These are little white lights. They're fairies. I was literally hitting fairies, and I didn't realize it because I thought they were those stupid, annoying little bugs, until I realized they're white and not black. And then when I started hitting them, they disappeared on me. And then I had to apologize to the fairies. Another funny story with fairies, at a time when I finally started to believe in them just from experience, I was still in the military, getting ready to retire. And I was going through full medical exams, including with my eyesight. And when the eye doctor was there testing my eyes for my peripheral vision, which I've never had problems with. I have good eyesight. But they're doing one specific test just to give me the full meal deal before I retired. And part of this test involves me looking into this thing, looking for white lights, and then pressing a button every time I saw a white light. And that was my instructions. Captain Forrest, every time you see a white light, press the button. I'm like, yeah, I got this. This is easy. I can handle this. So I saw these white lights, so I started pressing the button like a mad woman. And then the eye doctor stopped the test. He says, Captain Forrest, I don't know what you're doing. Like, you're acting a little weird. You're pushing the button way too often. There's not that many lights we're showing you yet. And I'm like, oh no. I said, okay, well, let's try again. So they tried again, and the same thing happened. I saw all these beautiful white lights and colorful lights, and I'm pressing the button like a mad woman because I see all these lights. And they stopped the test the second time. They're saying, Captain Forrest, I don't think you understand these instructions. Just press the light only when you see a light. And that's when it dawned on me. I'm like, oh no, I'm literally seeing fairies at this moment, which are tiny little white lights similar to what the test would show me. But I was seeing fairies too, so I'm seeing a bunch of them. And I had to tell the fairies, stop showing yourself to me. I'm trying to do a test. I'm looking really stupid, and the eye doctor thinks I'm a moron who can't follow simple instructions. So I said, fairies, no more visuals right now. Come, I can see you later, but not right now. And once I did, the third time was a charm. I actually passed the test and looked like I knew what I was doing in it.
Again, they sound like they're a little mischievous.
That's exactly what they are. Mischievous, fun, which is a little different than angel energy. They do have mischievousness around them for sure. They're fun-loving. They love parties. And that's where I started to invoke the fairies, is to say, okay, if you're about parties, and I suck at planning parties, I need your help here. So one time I asked the fairies, look, I got a birthday party coming up for myself. It was a bigger party, but I didn't have time to plan for it. I was just too busy with work and other things going on in my life. So I said, Fairies, look, I really, really need your help. And then like 2 hours later, it dawned on me, hire a party planner, which I've never done because I didn't think that even existed in Canada. And that to me sounded like a rich person thing. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to Google this. So in my area, there was a party planner, and she arrived at my door to consult with me. And the first thing she said, not knowing who I was, she had no idea I was the angel lady because I just give my name. I don't say I'm the angel lady. She arrives at my door and she comes in. She looks like a fairy. She's got the pixie haircut. She walks into my door and she goes, I'm a pixie. And I started laughing. I'm like, and so I see you are. But again, she had no idea that I believe in fairies or what I did for a living. It was a fairy sense of humor, and she was the best party planner. But I asked the fairies all the time to help me with family events or parties because they love parties, they love family get-togethers.
What about mermaids?
Mermaids are different, and that was a bigger stretch on my imagination than even fairies. Fairies was a little bit easier for me to handle the thought of. Mermaids, I'm like, oh gosh, come on, you gotta be kidding me. And there they were talking about mermaids, and I'm like, I don't know about that one. So again, I started to invoke them. And the first time I invoked them, I was actually in a pool, like in a swimming pool in a hotel. And I thought, you know what? Mermaids are above the water. Let's see if they're around, even though this is not the ocean. It's a hotel pool. And I sounded said, mermaids, I don't know if you exist or not. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to experience you. I'm trying to be open-minded. But if you exist, can you come join me in the pool while I'm swimming? And as soon as I thought those words, I suddenly heard all this diving in the pool. And slipping in the pool, and I looked around. I'm the only one in the pool. It's just a small hotel pool. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm the only one there. I'm like, I know I heard them literally come in the water, and then I saw sparkling lights on the water. So one time when I did an event at a women's weekend, we booked off the pool, the hotel pool, for an hour early in the morning. I said, let's do a mermaid swim. And I didn't think anyone would show up. I thought they're going to think I'm nuts, my clients. But they all showed up, even the ones who didn't know how to swim. They sat by the pool. And I invoked the mermaids. And the same thing, my clients afterwards are telling me they heard the splash. They saw sparkles of water. They felt laughter around them. They felt empowering energy around them. They felt the energy of the mermaids, which was pretty remarkable. But again, I had experienced it over and over because I was a little doubtful about that reality at first.
Besides seeing the lights, Karen, do you see the actual...
like figure of the mermaid?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I do. Not as often because my main way of receiving messages is hearing and feeling them. But I will sometimes see the very quick image of what you would think a mermaid would look like. Definitely with the fairies, I see them more often. So again, the typical image you think... little tiny being with either butterfly wings or dragonfly wings, I will see that too. But with fairies, I always see them in groups. They're sociable beings. So I never see just one. If I see them, there's going to be 3 or 4 or more at a time.
They're sociable, fun-loving little creatures.
Yes, they are. And mischievous. But they're fun.
What is the origin of the fairies?
I have no idea. I just only... because I'm sure there's folklore about that, but I go more with the divine aspect of them. So to me, they've been around just like angels and God have been around forever.
How has dealing with the angels and the fairies and the mermaids changed your look on the reality of the existence that we seem to be living in, or this dimension at this time?
It really challenged me to broaden my mind. It like a big time challenged me to broaden my mind, because it's hard to ignore something that I can hear and see and feel, and I ask for the help and I see the results. It's hard for me to discount that. So it definitely broadened my mind, trying to be open to other ideas that could be out there that before I would have been only thought of as science fiction and movies.
And I understand you offer courses, and in your courses, do you teach your people how to see or how to communicate with the fairies and the mermaids as well?
Yeah, I do. I have a whole workshop that people love about fairies and mermaids.
Did you ever think when you started that you'd actually be doing workshops about fairies and mermaids?
No, not at all. No. But again, I've always done what the angels and God have asked me, and it was probably 3 or 4 years into my work before I started teaching that particular topic. I needed time to get more comfortable with it before I taught it first. So my very first course was actually on angel cards because I loved angel cards. I thought they were fun. I had extensive training with them. So I taught about angel cards as my and learning to talk to your angels, my first 2 courses. But it took me a few years before I got around to developing a workshop on fairies and the elementals.
How surprised are people who take your courses when they actually see a fairy or other elementals? And they know for a fact they exist. Pardon?
They get so excited. They like, especially if they've never experienced it before, but they're open to trying it. And they get so very excited when they say, "Look, Karen, I saw something. I'm like, "What'd you see?" And they'll show me or tell me the typical image of what you would see with the fairy or mermaid. So it's excitement, pure excitement is what it is.
All right, please stand by, Karen. We've got to take another short break here in X Zone Nation. Our guest this hour is Karen FORREST, and she is the Canadian Angel Lady. Her website is KarenForrest.com. That's KarenForrest.com. And Karen is in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. And I'm sure if you go to her website, there is a way that you can communicate with her to get your very own one-on-one consultation with Karen. X Zone Nation, I will be back with Karen on the other side of the short break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us in St. Catharines and throughout the Greater Toronto Area and around the world on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streaming around the world on classic1220.ca. Don't go away.
Pretty little angel eyes, pretty little angel eyes, pretty little angel, pretty little angel, pretty little angel. Give up, give up, give up, give up, oh, give up, give up, give up, give up. Pretty little angel eyes. Give up, give up, give up, give up, oh.
I really love you so. Angel eyes, I'll never let you go.
There'll be no strings to bind your hands, not if my love can bind your heart. There's no need to take a stand, for it was I who chose to start. I see no need to take me home. I'm old enough to face the dawn. Just call me angel of the morning, angel. Just touch my cheek before you leave me, baby. Just call me angel of the morning.
Karen FORREST is our special guest this hour, X Zone Nation. Her website is KarenForrest.com. And Karen, you also do angel card readings for clients, don't you?
Yes, I do. During my readings, I'll sometimes use my angel cards if I'm guided to.
And how does an angel reading work?
When I'm working with angel cards, I own about 12 different decks. I trust my intuition which deck to use for any given question that someone's asking, or depending on what the angels want to say. When I'm shuffling my cards, they're quick shuffles, but I hold the intent first of the question I want to ask before I start to shuffle the cards.
And is it the angels that answer the questions?
It's whoever I invoke. So normally it's angels, but for example, if I give a message from the fairies, I'll invoke the fairies and ask them. So I'm always careful to hold the intent of who I want the message from first before I start to shuffle the cards too.
Now, when you say the intent, what is the intent?
It depends on the question. So always for me, there's 2 parts. I invoke a divine source, whether it be angels, archangels, God, goddesses, fairies, whichever term I use. And then the second part is asking one specific question at a time of them.
And during the readings, do the angels change on which angel is asking the question, or I should say answering the question?
It can, yes, it can. I can sit there and say, all right, guardian angels, what do you got for us today? And I pick up on Mother Mary. And I'm like, okay, fine, Mother Mary, what do you got for us today? So it can change during the session. There's usually, because everyone has a entourage of divine beings around them, there's often various divine beings that I'm picking up on.
Now, has all the work you've done with angels as well as the divine elementals that you deal with changed your outlook on religion?
Has it changed? No, because my outlook on religion, I kind of stepped away from that before my spiritual training because I found it too rigid. So I really kept it simple and said, I believe in God, which is pure love and pure light, but not fear-based, not judging God. And I preferred to just have my own personal relationship with God and angels.
Right.
But I started that in my teens.
Did the fact that you can communicate with these angels strengthen your belief?
Absolutely, it did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It strengthened my belief. It does to this day. It makes my life easier by communicating with them throughout my day, including my own personal life, asking for help. It's made my life easier when I'm going through tough times. It gets me through the tough times with very clear guidance on what to do in life to make my life easier and honor my life path.
How do the angels help for healing?
Yeah, I love working with the angels for healing, and that really suited my background because I have a nursing background, so I'm not quite the typical angel card reader because a lot of my focus it is healing. And I tell that to people, my focus it's healing. And so often I'm calling and invoking the angels for healing with someone. So what I tell people is, look, I'll ask the angels to do some healing on you, but during the and do a meditation with you with very specific intents for what type of healing you need. And normally that takes only 1 or 2 minutes of my session per healing meditation because the angels are quick. They know what they're doing. They don't need a lot of time. But then I'm always asking angels, and what does my client need to do? Or for my own life, when I'm asking for healing, what do I need to do? It's a two-way street. The angels will help you heal, but you still got to get off your butt and do certain things too.
Wow. What are some of the questions, or why are some of the reasons why some people come to you? And,
Yeah. Well, common one is health. People are trying to live a healthy life, or the reality is they have health problems. And so I look at, okay, how can angels help you? And again, what guidance do they have to improve your health? So health, romance, probably the number one thing is romance. The fairies love romance, by the way, so they always come crashing on through with romantic questions. Career questions are popular. Improving relationships, so it could be, how do I improve my relationship with my parents, my siblings, or my children, or a coworker that's driving me crazy. So I get those type of questions quite a bit. Or people just want to know, how can I focus a little bit more on my own spiritual path too. A lot of them are very practical questions people ask.
If we're all different and we all have the ability to use free choice at any given time, how do the angels know exactly what each person needs?
I don't know how they know that. I just know they do, and I trust them. I don't know how that works. I just know that because of their pureness of love and light, and knowing your soul and your life purpose, I absolutely 100% trust their guidance when they give it.
Have you ever wondered how they do it?
No, I just trust. I don't really think that much. I don't overthink things. That's not my brain.
So basically, you're an emissary between angels and mankind?
That's right. That's exactly it. I'm the human helper, trying to help people connect with a divine source to make their life easier.
And how do the angels go about choosing their helpers? How did they choose you?
I wouldn't know if I would use the words they chose me. I believe it's really because I made the choice to honor my path, and that happened to include communicating with angels for other people when that time came in my life. So it's more about, what does my soul say I want to come down here to do, than necessarily the angels choosing me per se.
So do you think that this plan was part of your pre-birth plan that you, at
That's
one
right.
time in your life, were going to be Karen, the angel lady, the angel's emissary?
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. I believe that part of my life purpose and soul before I came down here said, okay, Karen, you're going to come down here and you're going to start talking to angels and dead people for a living and help people heal as a form of a counselor, along with the fact that I, of course, have a counseling background too. I have both.
So how do you feel at the end of the day knowing that you've helped so many people?
Good. That's how it feels. I love my job. I don't have to work. I don't need the money. I make lots of money on pensions, and I have a simple life. I do it because I want to. It's so gratifying to see people do better in their lives. And the reason I chose to retire from nursing, because I was a nurse, and I had an advanced diploma in psychiatric mental health nursing. But I quit when I retired from the military. I quit nursing because I found I can help people faster and at a more deeper level if I could just go straight to angels and dead people for healing and for guidance to help people. So that's why I said, okay, that's it. I'm quitting nursing. Well, plus the angels guided me to do it. But I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to hold on to that out of fear. I'm going to quit nursing. I'm going to go talk to angels and dead people because I can see people do quicker in counseling sessions than what I did as a typical counselor working from a biological model.
What have your friends and family said about your choice and what you do as an angel lady and as an emissary for the angels and someone who speaks to angels and fairies and mermaids?
Yeah. I remember at first, now my mom won't admit to this. You ask my mom, she's 81 years old. You ask her now, she'll flat out say she's always believed in me and my work, but that's not true. When I first started out, she's like, oh, are you sure? Because she comes from a strong Catholic background, which is how I was raised. And plus, it's such a big departure for me. I'm a very practical person. I'm a leader. I'm very down to earth. I'm not a fairy type person, right? I believe in them. So it was a big switch to go from military nursing to say, let's talk to angels and dead people and tell my family. And I've always told my family what I'm going to do. I've never asked, what do you think? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do because that's who I am. And so they're a little shocked at first, but once they saw what I was doing, and then they started asking questions, and then they started asking for readings, and then they want me to speak to their relatives, which of course are also my dead relatives, then it changed. Now my sisters always believed in what I did because we're a very tight-knit family. I have there's 4 of us kids all together. We've always been tight-knit. We've always had our backs for each other. We always watch out for each other. So when I told them, hey, look, I'm going to start talking to angels and dead people for a living, they're like, okay. Because they just don't doubt me. They just have my back.
Well, what has been the strangest request that a client has asked you for to communicate with an angel for?
Oh yeah, there's been a few. Sometimes I remember one, and it's just funny things that people ask about, but a woman was getting married, and this had to do with the fairies, by the way. And she's getting married, and she's getting married outside our backyard, and she goes, Karen, can you ask the angels to grow my grass quicker? Because we're getting married, and we just seeded the grass like 2 weeks ago, we're getting married in 2 weeks. I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, sure, whatever. So I said, look, angels and fairies can just help her grass grow. And it did. She called me back the day after the wedding. Miraculously, the grass grew long enough to have a nice wedding. But I thought that was a little bizarre. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not afraid to ask for mundane things. The angels talk about what I call mundane things. But I'm like, okay, let's ask the angels to help you grow your grass faster for your wedding.
Wow.
Oh, why not?
Yeah. Unbelievable. I've got about a minute left. Do you have another quick one you can share with us?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think offhand. There's a time I get a lot of these types of requests. People lose objects, right? And they're like, I lost, someone recently lost their wedding band. Someone else, they lost their fancy glasses, their sunglasses that cost them a few $100. And they're like, can you ask, whatever angel it is that finds things, which angel's that? Can you ask them to help me out? I'm like, yes, I'll say a prayer for you. You don't need a session for that. I'll just say a prayer and ask them to bring it back to you. And a lot of times I'm surprised how often it works. And they email me or call me and say, hey, it worked. I found this in a very bizarre place. I'm like, okay, you found it. Good for you.
Exo Nation, Karen will be back with me on the other side of the short break as we wrap up this hour here in the Exo. Don't forget, After the top of the hour break, hour number 2 will commence with another interesting guest here in the X Zone. If you'd like to send me an email, my email is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can send an email to me at Classic1220 here in St. Catharines, xzone@classic1220.ca. The X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and of course our anchor station in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, your hometown classic radio, Classic 1220, and streaming around the world on classic1220.ca.
Just call me angel of the morning, angel. Just touch my cheek before you leave.
Bring the wind to carry me over, lead me home to my town. Tell me when that breeze is blowing, taking me home to my town. When I think of you, Scotia, there's a love that just bleeds in my heart. In my childhood days, we went our different ways, but you knew that we'd never part. Now I'm all alone, and you're calling me home. You knew our love could never die.
And welcome back. There's Canada's Glass Tiger with My Town. And speaking about My Town, starting on, Saturday, September. Yeah, let's try this one again, Rob. Starting Saturday, August the 17th, I'll be hosting an hour show on Saturday and Sunday that has basically nothing to do with the paranormal. It's called Your Hometown Radio Show, and we'll be featuring different events that are happening in Niagara, speaking to business persons, politicians, anything to do with the St. Catharines and the cities and towns within the national regional municipality of Niagara. So that's going to be starting on August the 17th, 1 hour on Saturday and 1 hour on Sunday. My guest this hour is Karen Forrest. Her website is KarenForrest.com. That's KarenForrest.com. And Karen, welcome back. And Karen, why don't you pull a card and see what the angels have for me today?
Yeah, I'm going to use the Mermaids and Dolphins deck because that's a very magical deck, and it's a deck that reminds people have a life, and that's important to be in balance. So I'm asking, just for the audience listening, what do they want you to know? And the card that came up, it talks about surrounding people with magical opportunities, and they're saying there's so many magical opportunities that they're trying to provide you in life right now. They don't want you to miss out on, but sometimes people get so busy they don't take the opportunity. So for example, it could be a friend says, hey, let's go for lunch. And you think, oh, no, I'm too lazy, I'm too busy. But something's telling you, go do it, right? Or you read about something, like recently I read about a play that I'm like, oh, I should really go. And then I thought, I really should. Like, I should just go book it right now. And I did, because the angels are saying, Karen, do it now. Like, don't wait. You'll miss out. Don't miss out on fun things in life. They really want you to enjoy opportunities that can come your way, that bring joy and laughter and balance. And it's so important because a lot of people, easy to get out of balance when we're busy all the time.
And these are very trying times, Karen. And
yes, it is. Yep.
How do the angels cope with everything that is going on? Not only here in Canada, not only in Charlottetown, not only here in St. Catharines, but with all the wars and all the political upheaval that's going on, how do they do it? My gosh, I get a headache just thinking about it.
So do I. It's tough. It's really tough. But the thing is, you and I are human, and when I communicate with angels, that is divine source. That's pure love and pure light. They're not human, so they don't have to deal with anything per se because they're not judging what's happening, like I would, or feel it in quite the same way we do. What they do, though, is guide us very much on our own path if we're willing to listen, pay attention. to say, how can we bring some goodness into this world? And that's what I focus on every day. And not the idea of being perfect. I certainly don't want that. I don't even like the thought of being perfect. That would annoy me. But to do better in life and to overall bring some goodness into this world. So that's what the angels are doing. So they don't have the burden we have of the worry or the craziness of the world, because there's a pureness about them, a pure love and light, not that humanness that we deal with.
Karen, if somebody is into meditation, would this help them communicate better with their angels?
Absolutely. I tell people to meditate, and I also encourage people, you can do short meditations. When I meditate, mine are normally only 1 minute long. After that, I'm like, look, I got life, I got things to do. I'm not going to be quieting my mind for 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. But I can do it for 45 seconds to a minute with a bit of practice. So absolutely, I encourage people, even if it's something simple, say, sit down, be quiet for 30 seconds and say, angels, I want to feel your presence. Or fairies, I don't know if you're real or not, but I'm gonna ask you to come on through and let me see if I can feel you or hear you or see you in the next 45 seconds. That's all. Just keep it simple.
Tell me about the courses that you teach.
Yeah, I teach quite a few. My next one, it's already booked up. I'm doing it at a place called Nature Space Resort in Prince Edward Island. And the focus for us, because we're in a beautiful nature space within Prince Edward Island. So I said to Nature Space Resort, I'll focus on teaching people how to do chakra clearing, which is a beautiful way of raising your vibrations, which makes it also easier to get your own guidance and connect with angels, but how to do it through nature. Very specific, how to work with nature on your side to raise your vibrations and do some very specific chakra clearing and healing in nature.
Now, how long do these courses take?
Oh, that one's only a weekend long. Most of my courses are 1 day long. I have offered in the past mentorship, but that's extensive. When people do mentorship, they're looking at about 20 hours of time with me, one-on-one with me, and then doing some courses too on top of that. But most of my courses are anywhere from half a day to 1 day long.
Are you seeing a greater acceptance in the work that you do and other people who work with angels than before?
Yes, yeah, thankfully I have. I've been doing this work for a very long time, nearly 20 years. 20 years now I've been talking to angels and dead people. And when I started off 20 years ago, it wasn't as common as what it is today to talk about it or be as open about it. And now I'm getting constant demands to do more workshops, and I'm so busy with private sessions, although people can still get in within a week to see me. I'm constantly busy because people are more open. They're looking for a way to find peace in their lives, and seeing the world as kind of crazy it is, to say, what can I do to offset that craziness?
Is there a specific age that you accept clients?
No, any age. Any age. I've worked with children. The only thing, if I'm having a private session and if the person's under the age of 18, I ask that their guardian be there or listen in on the session. But I work with children because they're very intuitive and they need guidance on, especially how to work with their skill set, and especially if there's a concern with them seeing dead people. It's like, how do you control that, right? Because that can be a little bit annoying.
Okay, are we talking about children who see dead people?
That's right. Very intuitive children, 5, 6, 7 years old, going to mommy and daddy saying, I see gray shadows, I see something over there, I see dead grandpa. And the parents are freaking out going, oh my God, you got to go see Karen, we don't know what to do. So I teach them how to control it so it doesn't freak them out.
Well, how would you teach someone to control it so they don't freak out? Because I'm sure there are people listening tonight who are saying, oh my God, that sounds like my kids.
Oh, I'm sure there are. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I tell people, please teach your child to invoke a divine source, God, Archangel Michael, whatever term they want to use that works for their religious and spiritual beliefs, to be their bodyguards so that they don't have negative dead people or entities or earthbound spirits or ghosts bothering that child. And then I teach the child, you got control here. You can block this like I do. You know, dead people can't just willy-nilly talk to me. I have tight controls on that. So I teach them, ask God to be your bouncer. Ask God to say, for me, my biggest boundary is no dead people are allowed to communicate me with to me directly without my permission. So I can go about my life in peace. But before that, it wasn't so peaceful, because I'd have dead people bugging me all the time trying to talk to me, until I got a grip on them through God and said, no more of that nonsense. I want to live my life. I don't want to be talking to dead people and dealing with them all day long. So dead people are intrusive. Angels are not a concern with angels, but it's a concern if they're seeing or hearing or communicating with dead people.
Karen, how do you get any rest? It seems that you're always so busy, and I would imagine at the end of a day of full readings and angel readings and healings, you must be exhausted.
Mentally, it can be a little tiring. How I get my rest is I have a life. I do take days off, and I'm very strict about boundaries with my days off. This time of year, I'm swimming in the ocean for fun. I'm going to all these plays. I hang out with my friends and family. So really, I have a life, and I have days off, so that I don't get burnt out or exhausted from it. Because it's a little bit much sometimes. A lot of people are calling to me for very serious concerns in their lives.
Well, you are fortunate enough to live in a beautiful province.
I am.
And as a child, we have family in New Brunswick, and we also had very good friends in Prince Edward Island, and we used to go there quite frequently. And it is such a beautiful province, and the people are so super friendly. Yeah.
Friendly, it's peaceful. And I've been living here 8 years now in Prince Edward Island. Before that, I was in Nova Scotia. I love Nova Scotia too, but with Prince Edward Island, 8 years, I still do not get bored of driving around the island, because it's so pretty. It's so peaceful. It's so peaceful. Driving around Prince Edward Island is so beautiful year round. This time of year, I go to the beaches on 15-minute drive to the world famous beaches that we have here, that I just take a break in the middle of my day. I'll work in the mornings, take my afternoons off so I can swim in the ocean, and then work in the evenings is what I do a lot in the summertime.
Have you gone to Anne of Green Gables?
Oh yes, absolutely. I have. More because my touristy visitors make me go there. But I have. I mean, I'm an avid fan of the book. It's my favorite classic. Yeah. But I try to avoid that area, Prince Edward Island, this time of year, because it's very touristy. So I avoid that beach area and avoid the crowds there. But I've had to go because of people visiting me wanting to see Anne of Green Gables.
Karen, I'd like to ask you quickly to let us know how our listeners can contact you, when your courses are coming, and what your final thoughts are.
Yeah. They can contact me by email, Karen@KarenForrest.com. And this information is on my website, KarenForrest.com. So KarenForrest. It also has my phone number there too to contact me. And my website is always updated with any workshops or events that I have. But people can opt into my email list, and then they'll be notified of events too, because they tend to fill up very quickly when I do an event. They fill up quick.
Karen, as always, great pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to the next time when you join us, when we can talk more about angels, fairies, and now mermaids. Take care of yourself, Karen.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your summer.
As you as well. And Exo Nation, once again, if you'd like to contact Karen Forrest, her website is KarenForrest.com. That's KarenForrest.com. I'll be back on the other side of this short break as hour number 2 of the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, commences now. So whatever you do, don't go away. And if you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com or xzone@classic1220.ca. Don't go away.